The pen was millimeters from the paper when she leaned in and whispered, "Don't sign." My hand froze. Across the table, Graham Whitaker sat back in his chair like he already owned the room. White billionaire. Perfect suit. Perfect smile. The kind of smile that says you are already beaten, you just do not know it yet. Quick one before I carry on. Tell me where you are watching from, city and state or country. And if you are here for dignity, fairness, and real accountability, hit like and subscribe. All right, back to it. My name is Andre Cole. 10 years ago, I was sleeping on my cousin's sofa with a laptop balanced on a laundry basket, building a logistics platform nobody believed in. Now, Cole Meridian Logistics moves emergency medical supplies and critical goods across the East Coast. Today was supposed to be my biggest win. A partnership that would push us nationwide. That is why I was sitting in that glass boardroom on the 38th floor, staring at a contract that looked clean, polished, and normal. But something about the room felt too confident, like the ending had been agreed without me. Julian Cross sat to my left, my co-founder, my closest friend, my brother in everything but blood. He leaned in with a grin and whispered, "After today, we are untouchable." Across from me, Graham's people watched like hawks dressed in designer. And at the head of the table, Graham himself, calm, amused, like the whole city was his chessboard. Cameras were set up on the side, champagne waited on a tray. The board chair, Evelyn Hart, kept glancing at her watch. The deal was being treated like a celebration, not a negotiation. I lifted the pen, and then the door opened. At first I thought it was an assistant, but it was a cleaner. A black woman in a simple blue uniform, hair tucked under a headscarf, pushing a cart like she was trying not to exist. Julian's jaw tightened. Graham's smile barely moved. Evelyn's eyes narrowed like the cleaner had stained the air itself. The woman apologized softly. She said she would be fast. She moved to the corner, collected the bin liner, wiped a surface, careful, quiet, invisible. Nobody in that room looked at her as a person, until she reached my side. She bent as if to change the bin near my chair, and she leaned in, close enough that only I could hear. "Don't sign," she whispered. "He's lying." I did not know her name then. I did not know her history. I did not know why she would risk anything for me. But I knew fear when I heard it, and I knew truth when it lands in your chest like a weight. My pen slipped from my fingers and tapped the wood. The room went still. Julian laughed a little, too quick. "Bro, you all right?" Graham leaned forward, his voice smooth. "Mr. Cole, shall we make history?" I swallowed. I forced my face to stay calm. "I need 5 minutes," I said. Julian blinked like I had insulted him. "5 minutes for what?" Evelyn's voice sharpened. "Andre, we are live recording." Graham's smile tightened just a fraction. "We have reviewed the details. There's nothing left to check." I stood up anyway. 5 minutes, I repeated, and I walked out. In the hallway, I saw the cleaner pushing her cart toward the service lift. I called out, sharper than I meant to. "You, come with me." She flinched, but she followed. I led her into a small break room beside the pantry. A cheap table, a flickering light, a smell of instant coffee. I shut the door and faced her. "Talk," I said. "What do you mean, do not sign?" Her hands shook, but she kept her voice steady. "I know this sounds crazy, sir, but please listen. I've heard things, conversations that were not meant for my ears." I stared at her. "Who?" She hesitated. Then she said it. "Your partner, Julian, and that man, Graham Whitaker, they are setting you up." For a second, I almost laughed, because it sounded impossible. Julian and I built this company together. We bled for it. We ate struggle for breakfast. How could he turn around and destroy me? But her eyes were not playing games. "Why should I believe you?" I asked. She swallowed. "Because I have proof. They think cleaners are invisible. They talk around us like we are furniture. But we hear everything." I stepped closer, voice low. "If this is a lie, you will lose your job today." "I understand," she said. But if I keep quiet and you lose everything, I will never forgive myself." That sentence did something to me. I looked at her uniform, her tired face, the way she stood like she was bracing for a punch. "What is your name?" I asked. "Nia," she said. "Nia Daniels." "Nia," I repeated. "Do you have proof right now?" "Not here," she said. "It is not safe. Meet me tonight, 7 p.m., same room. I will show you everything." I stared at her for a long moment. "Fine, 7. She nodded once and left. I stood there alone, staring at the cracked plastic clock on the wall, feeling the ground shift under my life. When I walked back into the boardroom, the smiles were still there. But now I could see the tension behind them. Julian's grin looked forced. Graham's eyes looked sharper. I sat down and closed the contract folder. "I've decided to review certain clauses again," I said. Graham's smile dropped. "Review? Mr. Cole, we have spent weeks finalizing this." Julian's voice tightened. "Andre, you are making us look unserious." I turned my head slowly and looked at him, really looked at him. It was the first time in years I noticed the impatience behind his friendliness. "The decision is mine," I said. Evelyn leaned forward. "Postponing will create uncertainty." "Then let it," I replied. "We will continue tomorrow." Graham's jaw clenched. "This delay could ruin the deal," he said. "Then it will be my mistake," I said calmly. I stood, collected my papers, and ended the meeting. As I walked out, I heard a low laugh behind me. Not friendly, more like irritation disguised as charm. That night, I did not sleep. I sat in my home office staring at the contract, reading it line by line like my life depended on it. Because it did. By morning, my eyes were red, my head pounding, but my decision was clear. I needed Nia's proof. At 7 p.m. sharp, I returned to that same break room. The building was quieter now, most staff gone, lights dimmed. Nia was already there, sitting with a small backpack on her lap. She stood quickly when she saw me. "Thank you for coming," she said. I sat opposite her. "Show me." Her hands trembled as she pulled out her phone. "It started 3 weeks ago," she said. "I was cleaning Julian's office late. I heard him talking, and I heard a woman." "A woman?" I asked. "Yes. She visits after hours, expensive clothes. She acts like the building belongs to her." Nia tapped her screen and turned it toward me. A blurry photo through a door crack. My stomach dropped. It was Sloane Whitaker, Graham's wife. Not just his wife, his fixer. The one people in finance whispered about like a ghost. "What is she doing with Julian?" I whispered. Nia's voice was quiet. "They are working together." Then she played the audio. I heard Julian's voice clear enough to make my skin crawl. "Once he signs, we control the assets. He will not even realize until it is done." Then Sloane's voice, smooth and cold. "And if Andre suspects—" Julian laughed. "He is too trusting, always has been. He thinks loyalty is real." I sat there, frozen. Nia kept scrolling. Screenshots of emails, bank transfer confirmations, 2 versions of the same contract. She showed me side by side. "In your version," she explained, "you keep controlling shares. In the version they want you to sign, your control drops so low you become a figurehead. They take the company, they take the board, they take everything." My hands started shaking, not from fear, but from rage. "This is fraud," I said. "Yes," she replied. "They are counting on your trust." I leaned back, trying to breathe. Then I looked at her. "Why are you helping me?" Nia's eyes softened. "Because you are the only executive who greets me like I am human," she said. "You thank the security guards. You say good morning to reception. You do not treat us like dirt." Her words hit harder than the evidence, because suddenly I realized something. I had been building a company, but I had not been watching the people inside it. I looked at her and asked the next question. "How did you even spot this?" Nia hesitated. Then she told me the truth. "I was not always a cleaner," she said. "I studied finance. I worked as an analyst." I stared at her. "What?" She nodded. "I lost that job, not because I was not good, Because they did not want me there. They said I did not fit their culture. They mocked my hair, my voice, my background. She swallowed. And my younger brother needs surgery. I took this job because it comes with health cover. I sat there, feeling something tighten in my chest. A woman with qualifications, cleaning a boardroom, being treated like air. And she was still brave enough to warn me. "Nia," I said, voice low, "if you stand with me, I will not let them destroy you." She looked down. "I am already destroyed if they frame me," she whispered, "but I would rather go down telling the truth than live knowing I watched you get robbed." I took a breath. "Then we do this properly," I said. And that is when the plan formed. Because here's what I realized. Graham Whitaker did not just want my company. He wanted me to sign willingly, so he could call it business, so he could say I agreed. And Julian wanted a seat beside the billionaire. He wanted to be close to power, even if it meant stepping on my throat. So we decided to let them think they were winning. The next morning, I walked into the office calm, composed. But inside my jacket, my phone was recording, and inside my briefcase, I had a second recorder, hidden. Because if they wanted to frame the cleaner, I wanted them to do it on tape. At 9 a.m., my assistant buzzed me. "Mr. Cross is here," she said, voice nervous. "He is with security." "Send them in," I replied. My office door opened. Julian stepped inside with a serious face, followed by Dale Rourke, the head of security. Julian sighed like he was carrying a burden. "Andre," he said, "I'm sorry to start the day like this, but we have a serious problem." I leaned back. "What kind of problem?" Julian looked at Dale, then back at me. "Theft," he said. The word landed heavy. "One of the cleaning staff has been stealing from executive offices. We have evidence." I kept my face still. "Who?" I asked. Julian's eyes flickered. "Nia Daniels." My stomach tightened, but I did not show it. Julian placed a tablet on my desk and swiped through images. Photos of Nia in executive offices, standing near drawers, near filing cabinets, near my desk. Julian pointed like a prosecutor. "Here she is in my office," he said. "Here she is in Graham's office, and here she is in your office." I looked at the images. They were real, but they proved nothing, because that was her job. "What exactly did she steal?" I asked. Julian hesitated, like he was performing sadness. "Cash, a watch, confidential files, and Andre, your emergency USB drive." My heart thumped once. I kept my voice calm. "I see. Bring her in." Julian nodded quickly. "Already on it." Seconds later, the door opened again. 2 guards walked Nia in. She looked pale, but her chin was lifted. Her hands clasped in front of her. Her eyes met mine for half a second. She was scared, but she did not bend. Julian put on his soft voice, the one he used when he wanted to look reasonable. "Nia," he said, "we need to ask you questions about certain irregularities." Nia's voice was quiet. "What irregularities?" Julian's smile turned thin. "Theft," he said. "Breaking into executive offices, accessing confidential information, taking valuable items." "That's not true," Nia said. "I was cleaning. That's my job." Julian tilted his head like she was a child. "At 6 p.m. in offices you had no business being in." Nia's voice sharpened. "I work evenings. You know that." Julian's eyes narrowed. "Then maybe Andre should check something." He turned to me like he was handing me a gift. "Open the top right drawer of your desk," he said. "The one where you keep the emergency USB drive." My fingers moved slowly. I opened the drawer. The USB drive was gone. Julian nodded, satisfied. "See," he said, "it is missing." Nia's eyes widened. "I did not take anything," she whispered. Julian's voice hardened. "Then where is it?" Nia shook her head. "I do not know." Julian stepped closer, acting offended. "You think we are fools? You were going to sell company secrets. How much were they paying you?" Nia's breathing quickened. Her eyes filled, but she fought tears. "I did not steal anything," she said louder. Dale Rourke shifted uncomfortably. but he stayed silent. Julian glanced at him. "Call the police," Julian said. "This is serious." Nia flinched. That was the moment most people break. Because once police enter the story, the room decides who to believe. And a black woman in a cleaning uniform rarely wins that vote. I looked at Julian and spoke calmly. "Julian, step outside with me." Julian blinked. "There is nothing to discuss." "Outside," I repeated. My voice was cold enough that he moved. In the hallway, the second the door closed, I turned on him. "What are you doing?" I asked. Julian's face stayed smooth. "I'm protecting our company." "Cut the act," I said. "I know about the contract." His eyes twitched. "I know about the second version. I know about the share switch. I know about the transfers." Julian's color drained slightly. Then he laughed, small and bitter. "You think you know," he said. I stepped closer. "I also know about Sloane Whitaker," I added. That did it. Julian's mask slipped. For the first time, I saw the resentment he had been hiding for years. He exhaled through his nose. "Why?" I asked. "After everything, why betray me?" Julian's laugh had no joy in it. "Because I am tired," he snapped. "I am tired of being your shadow." He stepped forward, eyes burning. "Every headline says Andre Cole. Every award says Andre Cole. The visionary, the genius, the leader." He jabbed a finger at my chest. "And I am always just Julian, the partner, the helper, the guy standing behind you." I stared at him. "We built this together," I said. "And you took the spotlight," he hissed. "You took control. You made the final calls. You always had the power." I lowered my voice. "So you decided to steal it?" Julian's mouth tightened. "I decided to take what I deserved," he said. "And Graham Whitaker understands how the world works." I felt my stomach turn. "He does not respect you," I said. "He is using you." Julian smiled, cold. "Maybe," he said. "But I will be rich either way." I held his gaze. "Except you forgot one thing," I said. "What?" He spat. I lifted my phone slightly. "I recorded you," I said, every word. Julian's eyes widened. "You what?" I leaned in. "And Nia has evidence of the contract fraud, the transfers, the meetings, the whole thing." Julian's face tightened. "That will not hold up." "It does not have to," I said calmly. "It just has to reach the board, the investors, the press." Julian's throat bobbed. I took a step back. "You're finished," I said, "and if you go near Nia again, you will not like what comes next." I turned and walked back into my office. Nia was still standing there, guards close. Julian followed behind me, trying to look calm, but his eyes were panicking. I looked at Dale. "Release her," I said. Dale blinked. "She is accused of theft, sir." "Release her," I repeated. My voice left no room. The guard stepped back. Nia exhaled shakily, confusion written across her face. I turned to her. "Nia," I said softly, "you're safe." Julian's voice jumped in, too quick. "Andre, you cannot just let her go. The drive is missing." I looked at Julian. "Is it?" I asked quietly. Then I looked at the drawer again, as if thinking. And that is when I did the thing that made the whole room shift. I opened my laptop. I pressed one key, and the large screen on the wall lit up. Because while Julian thought he was setting a trap, we had set one too. The screen showed a clip of security footage. Julian, late last night, alone in my office, opening the drawer, placing the USB drive inside his own pocket, then closing the drawer and leaving. Julian froze. Dale's face changed. Nia covered her mouth. Julian stammered. That is edited." I spoke calmly. "It is pulled straight from the building server," I said. "Time stamped." Evelyn Hart's voice came through the office doorway. "What is going on?" she demanded. I turned to her. "Theft," I said. "Julian Cross has been stealing and attempting to frame a cleaner to cover contract fraud." Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "That is a serious accusation." "It is a serious crime," I replied. Julian snapped. "You cannot prove anything." I nodded. "You are right," I said. So let us not rely on one thing. I reached into my briefcase and placed the recorder on my desk. Then I looked at Dale. "Play it," I said. Dale hesitated. I met his eyes. "Play it." He pressed the button. Julian's voice filled the room, loud, clear. His confession in the hallway, his resentment, his admission that Graham and Sloan were involved, his reason for framing Naya. The office went silent. Julian's face collapsed. Evelyn's posture stiffened like someone had poured ice down her spine. I looked at Julian. "You are terminated," I said. "Effective immediately." Julian's mouth opened. "You cannot do that." "I just did," I replied. I turned to Dale. "Escort him out." Dale moved. Julian backed up, eyes wild. "This is insane," he shouted. "You are making a mistake." I did not flinch. "The mistake was trusting you," I said. Julian was escorted out. Nia stood shaking, still trying to process what had happened. I turned to her. "I'm sorry," I said. "Not just for today. For everything this building has ever made you swallow." Her eyes filled. She shook her head. "I'm used to it," she whispered. I hated that sentence, because nobody should be used to humiliation. Evelyn cleared her throat. "If Graham Whitaker is involved," she said carefully, "this will become public." I nodded. "It should," I said, "because he is counting on silence." Right then, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. One word. "Sign." My stomach tightened. They were watching. I looked at the glass wall of my office, and for the first time, I felt the truth clearly. This was not over. Not yet. Because Graham Whitaker did not lose politely. He retaliated. Within an hour, Graham arrived on the floor with 2 lawyers and Sloan at his side. He walked like a man entering his own house. His smile was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "Andre," he said, "I hear there is confusion." I stood. "There is no confusion," I replied. "There is fraud." Graham's lawyer stepped forward, clipped voice. "We are prepared to proceed with the signing immediately." I looked at them. "We are not signing anything," I said. Sloan laughed softly, like I was entertaining. "You do not understand the position you are in," she said. I met her gaze. "Oh, I do," I replied. "You just do not understand the position you are in." Graham's eyes flicked to Nia. He looked at her like she was dirt on his shoe. "And who is this?" he asked. "Staff?" Nia's shoulders tightened. I stepped slightly in front of her. "This is the person who saved my company," I said. Graham's smile thinned. "From what?" he asked. "From business?" I leaned forward. "From you," I said quietly. Graham's eyes hardened. He turned to Evelyn. "Control your CEO," he said, "or I will destroy investor confidence by lunchtime." Evelyn's jaw clenched. "This is serious," she said. "Graham, if you are implicated—" Graham cut her off. "Implicated by a cleaner?" he scoffed. "Do not be ridiculous." That sentence was the match, because it showed exactly who he was. I looked at Nia, then I looked at Graham. "You just said it," I said, "out loud, in front of witnesses." Graham's brows lifted. "Said what?" I spoke calmly. "That you believe some people's voices do not count," I said. "That you can take what you want because you assume nobody will fight back." Sloan rolled her eyes. "This is emotional," she said. "We are talking contracts, not feelings." I nodded. "Great," I said. "Then let us talk contracts." I turned to my computer screen and displayed the 2 versions of the contract side by side. I kept the details blurred for confidentiality, but the structure was clear. Evelyn leaned in, eyes narrowing. "This clause, this is not what we approved," she said. Graham's lawyer stiffened. Graham's face stayed calm. "Minor revisions," he said. "No," I replied. "Hostile takeover." Sloan's voice sharpened. "You're accusing us with no proof." I nodded. "Proof is coming," I said. And right then my phone buzzed again. A message. "We can ruin her." I stared at it. Then I showed it to Evelyn. Evelyn's face turned pale. Graham's smile twitched. Sloan's eyes narrowed like knives. I looked at them. "You are threatening my staff," I said. "On record." Graham laughed softly. Prove it, he said. So I did. I pressed one button, and the call that Naya had recorded weeks ago played. Graham's voice, Sloane's voice, Julian's voice, talking about lowering my shares, about turning me into a figurehead, about making the signing look voluntary. Evelyn stepped back. "This is criminal," she whispered. Graham's eyes went cold. He stopped smiling. For the first time, the billionaire looked like what he truly was, a man who thought money could erase anything. He leaned in toward me. "You're making an enemy," he said quietly. I met his gaze. "You already were," I replied. Evelyn picked up her phone. "I'm calling counsel," she said, "and regulators." Graham's lawyer stepped forward, tense. "Evelyn, let us be reasonable." Evelyn looked at him. "The reasonable moment ended when you framed a cleaner for theft," she said. Sloane's mouth tightened. "We did not frame anyone," she snapped. Nia finally spoke, voice shaking but clear. "You planned it," she said. "I heard you." Graham turned his head toward Nia slowly, and the way he looked at her, I will never forget it. Not anger, not even surprise, just contempt. "You are nothing," he said. The room went quiet. I felt heat rise in my chest, and that is when I understood. This was bigger than my company. This was about how people like Graham move through the world, silencing, crushing, taking, and counting on everyone else to stay polite. I stepped forward. "You will apologize," I said. Graham blinked. "Excuse me?" "You will apologize to her," I repeated, "or this becomes public right now." He laughed. "You think you can threaten me with publicity?" he said. "I own publicity." I nodded once. "Then you will enjoy this," I replied, because at that point I'd already sent the evidence, not to one person, to several, my lawyer, the board's outside counsel, a secure escrow email with automatic release if I did not confirm safety, and a journalist I trusted who specialized in corporate corruption. Graham did not know that. He still believed he controlled the air. Evelyn's phone rang. She answered. Her face changed as she listened. Then she looked at Graham. "The board has convened an emergency vote," she said, "and they are authorizing immediate suspension of the deal pending investigation." Graham's jaw clenched. Sloane snapped. "You cannot do that." Evelyn's voice turned hard. "We can," she said, "and we will." Graham stood. He adjusted his cufflinks slowly, performing calm. "This company will collapse without my capital," he said. I smiled faintly. "No," I replied. "It will collapse without trust, and you just lost yours." Graham's eyes narrowed. He leaned in close, voice low. "You will regret this," he said. I leaned in too. "And you will answer for it," I replied. Security escorted Graham and Sloane out of the floor. As they left, Sloane turned back once, eyes burning. "This is not finished," she said. I watched them go, and then I turned to Nia. Her hands were shaking. She looked like she had run a marathon in fear. "I'm sorry," I said again. She swallowed. "They always do this," she whispered. "They always win." I shook my head. "Not this time," I said. "Not while I'm breathing." That day turned into a storm. By afternoon, rumors were spreading through the building. Phones were out, whispers in elevators, staff looking at Naya like she was either a hero or a target. And that is the thing about corporate spaces. The same people who ignore you in peace will study you in crisis. By evening, the press had it. Not everything, but enough. A major outlet published, "Billionaire investor under investigation for predatory contract scheme." Graham's name was in the headline. And that is when the calls started. Investors, partners, clients, everyone asking the same question. "Are you stable?" I gave the same answer. "We are stable," I said. "We are standing on truth." 2 days later, regulators got involved. A week later, Julian was charged. And Graham Whitaker? He did what men like him always do. He tried to flip the story. He sent statements saying he was the victim of misunderstanding. He suggested I was emotional. He implied Nia was disgruntled staff trying to extort. And then he tried one more move. He offered Nia money, quiet money, a payout under an NDA to silence her. Nia showed me the email. Her hands were shaking as she read it. I looked at her. "You do not have to carry this," I said. "You have already done enough." Nia's eyes filled. "I cannot go back to being invisible," she whispered. "I cannot unsee what they are." I nodded. "Then you will not be invisible again," I said. That is when I pulled her HR file, and what I found made me furious. Nia Daniels, degree in finance, former analyst, excellent reviews. And then, a vague termination, a note about culture fit, a pattern I recognized instantly. They did not fire her for performance. They pushed her out because she did not belong to their idea of professional. And yet, here she was, still standing, still brave. So I offered her a real job, not as charity, as correction. "Nia," I said, "I need a head of internal audit, someone who can spot what others miss, someone who cannot be bought." Her mouth opened slightly. "I'm just a cleaner," she whispered automatically, like the building had trained her to shrink. I shook my head. "No," I said. "You are the reason this company still exists." Nia cried then. Quiet tears, not loud, because people who have been humiliated too often do not like making noise. We set up a fund to cover her brother's surgery, not as a gift, as a statement. A company that claims values must pay for them. Months passed. The company recovered, clients stayed, investors respected the stand, and staff walked differently in the hallways. Not because the building changed, because the truth changed the way people looked at power. Julian tried to bargain. He tried to claim Graham manipulated him. He tried to cry loyalty. But the recordings did not care about his excuses. Graham Whitaker fought publicly, but privately he retreated. His empire could survive scandal, but not a pattern. And the evidence showed a pattern. Other companies, other founders, other hostile takeovers. Once regulators saw the thread, they pulled hard. One morning, I arrived at the office and found Nia already there, in a suit, hair neat, eyes steady, not hiding, not shrinking, standing in the same building that once treated her like air. She looked at me and smiled slightly. "They cannot unsee me now," she said. I smiled back. "No," I replied, "they cannot." On the day the final investigation report came back, the board convened again. Evelyn read the findings with a cold voice. Fraud, misrepresentation, attempted coercion, obstruction. The board voted unanimously. Graham Whitaker was banned from any involvement with our company permanently. All contracts void, all negotiations terminated. And then the part that mattered most. Evelyn turned to Nia. "Ms. Daniels," she said, "the board would like to formally apologize for the way you were treated in this building. We failed you." Nia's throat bobbed. She nodded once, eyes shining, but she did not crumble. Because she did not need pity. She needed respect. After the meeting, Nia and I stood by the window, looking down at the city. All those people moving below, each one carrying a private battle. I turned to her. "You know what is wild?" I said. "This whole company was nearly stolen with paperwork." Nia nodded. "And silence," she said. "Yes," I replied. "And silence." She looked at me. "Are you okay?" she asked. I exhaled. "I keep thinking about how close I was," I admitted. "How close I was to signing away everything I built." Nia's voice softened. "That is how they do it," she said. "They make it feel normal. They smile. They rush you. They act like you are lucky." I nodded slowly. Then I said the truth I'd been holding in. "I used to think strength meant controlling everything," I said. "But I think strength is hearing a whisper and being brave enough to stop." Nia smiled faintly. "That is why I warned you," she said. A week later, her brother had surgery. I sat with her in the waiting room. The hours felt like years. When the doctor came out smiling, Nia's knees almost gave. "He's going to make it," the doctor said. Nia covered her face and cried, full body relief. And in that moment, I realized something. The system had tried to crush her, but it did not kill her character. Months later, the office felt different. Not perfect, but awake. People greeted cleaners. Security stopped acting like uniforms meant lesser. Executives were careful with their arrogance because they had seen what happens when the person you ignore becomes the reason you survive. And here is the lesson that stayed with me. Never look down on anyone, not the cleaner, not the security guard, not the receptionist. Because sometimes the person the world ignores is the one holding the truth that will save you. And if you have ever been treated like you were invisible, I want you to remember this. Visibility is not granted by powerful people. It is claimed by courage. If this story moved you, drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from. And if you are here for dignity, fairness, and real accountability, like and subscribe. Because in a world full of predators, we need more people willing to stop the signing. And one last thing. A week after the case closed, a small package arrived at my office. No return address. Inside was a single key and a tag with a number stamped into metal like a safety deposit box code and 3 words written underneath. Ask Evelyn Hart. I stared at it for a long time because the truth is, Graham Whitaker was not the only one in that room who knew the deal was dirty, and that is where I will leave it.